Carbon monoxide buildup in their home nearly killed them. Investigators say a blocked furnace is to blame. As the weather cools down and we begin to turn on our heaters and furnaces, how do we prevent a similar situation from happening?
ABC 15's Brien McElhatten is in Studio A this morning with members of the Mesa Fire Department. Again, Brien, carbon monoxide is hard to detect until it's too late. So what do we need to do to stay safe?
No, you're exactly right. It is colorless, it is odorless, and often you don't realize that you're being affected by it until it's too late. Fortunately, firefighters have some tools available to them to help detect the situation before it really gets out of hand. This is Mark Enriquez with the Mesa Fire Department. This is one of the tools you use to kind of sniff the air because we can't, right?
Yes, absolutely. As you stated, carbon monoxide is a colorless, odorless gas. And the Mesa Fire Department and other agencies in the valley, we use specialized metering equipment to detect this deadly killer. This is a Cirrus 5-star combustible gas indicator, which is capable of detecting carbon monoxide in your home or a business if we do have a high suspect of, high index of suspicion to determine if there is a problem. Besides the 5-star combustible gas indicator, we also carry a rad 57. The rad 57 is like a pulse oximetry probe, which will detect the levels of carbon monoxide in the bloodstream. You cannot detect it by normal means, so this is a specialized piece of equipment that will allow responders to be able to treat you a little bit quicker and appropriately.
Great. And to avoid all this, there are some things you can do at home. Forrest Smith is also with the Mesa Fire Department. Just a few seconds left, but what the folks at home really need to know, especially as the weather cools down?
Well, as the weather cools down, for us, most of us are turning our furnaces on for the first time. So what we're telling people is make sure you have proper housekeeping. Make sure that your furnaces are clean, checked on a regular basis. Make sure that you have any inspections need to be done by your local gas company. A lot of times what you're smelling from the first time you turn these furnaces on is that smoke, dust that settles on there. So what we're advising at that point is once that happens, you're safe. But if you start to notice anything is abnormal about your furnace, then certainly give us a call. But again, go back, make sure that you have the proper people come out, make sure everything's in working order, as well as space heaters and all. Make sure all your devices are in proper working order as well.
Okay, we'll get into more of that in the 6 o'clock hour. You know, you don't want to see these guys at your house with this equipment, but it's good to know that if you need them, they'll be here for you. Live in Studio A, Brien McElhatten, ABC 15 News.
It is your home.
That's right. We want you to be careful if you do use a furnace to stay warm. A Mesa family suffered carbon monoxide poisoning because their furnace was blocked. Luckily, the family is okay and out of the hospital this morning. But all new this morning, ABC 15's Brien McElhatten working to keep you safe.
Brien, how do firefighters respond to these carbon monoxide emergencies?
You know, very carefully, because with this gas, you can't see it and you can't smell it. Often you have no idea what's happening until it's too late. Forrest Smith is with the Mesa Fire Department. Your crews responded to this scene yesterday, and really, I mean, there are some things that folks should take into consideration at home, especially as we're turning on our furnaces, right?
No, that's right, because we're at that time of year now where people are turning their furnaces on for the first time, and one of the big considerations we want the public to know is that if you're doing any alterations around your home, make sure you contact the gas company and the proper authorities to make sure you're doing construction properly. The other issue that we have, too, is that if you're using space heaters, make sure that you're only using those as a temporary means of heating, because then they could create that environment where you have that non-circulation. You build up that carbon monoxide in your home from having these having improper use of these space heaters. So with that said too, don't use alternative forms of heating as well, like barbecue grills or any other heating devices inside the home.
Don't light the grill up inside your house.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And again, with the furnaces though, what we want to remind everybody, a lot of times you have that dirt on there. That's what's causing that burning type of smell.
The electric furnaces.
The electric furnaces, right. Yeah, so a lot of times it's that dust that's giving that burn off smell. So make sure it's in proper working order. You may want to open your windows for the first time you're using those things to get that circulation. But if you're finding that furnace isn't working properly, of course, call out the gas company or have somebody who can come out and maintain that for you.
And if something should happen, if there is an emergency, the firefighters are prepared to handle that. You've got some great tools here, some high-tech gadgetry to really use.
Yeah, Brien, the Mesa Fire Department Special Operations Team, we have a couple meters that we can use to help detect carbon monoxide in a residence or a business. This is the Cirrus 5-star. This is a combustible gas indicator, which will be able to read in parts per million how much carbon monoxide is present, if there's anything present. If we do have a high index of suspicion for carbon monoxide poisoning, we also have the rad 57 meter.
This actually slips on your finger here.
Yeah, it slips on your finger, and what it does, it gives us a reading of how much pulse CO is in your bloodstream, and also what your oxygen saturation is. That way, the quicker we can diagnose it, the faster we can treat you and transport you to the appropriate facility.
Good to know you guys are prepared for this just in case. And of course, to prevent this from happening at home, you can always buy a carbon monoxide detector. They are inexpensive. You can find them almost anywhere. So be sure to go and get one of those. Live in Studio A, Brien McElhatten, ABC 15 News.